All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a massive, massive weekend. This is actually the first time since Endgame I have seen movie theaters this packed. And you know what I'm going to be
That's right.
talking about? Barbenheimer weekend. Barbie Oppenheimer coming out on the 21st. We're going to be covering both films, highs, lows, critiques, and of course our grades afterwards. We are on the 5 point Mario Brothers scaling system. This is your host, Brian, aka El Nino, and today I'm joined with,
I'm Kip, aka Killer Disciple.
and we have a very special guest, one of our main sponsors here at Zero Dark Nerdy.
Steven, aka Sailfish Steve from Sailfish Comics.
Love it, love it. As you know from the intro, middle of the episodes, and outro, Sailfish Comics, they have been good friends of ours for quite some time now. 3 locations across North Carolina, one right here in Greensboro across from Best Buy, one in Winston-Salem, and one in Concord. We'll get into more Sailfish stuff at the end, but right now we are going to get into the two hottest movies since the pandemic, Barbie and Oppenheimer. And we will go ahead and start with what's supposed to be the format. You're supposed to watch Oppenheimer first and then finish with Barbie. Kip and I ended up having to do the reverse because Oppenheimer was super sold
It
out
was
on
packed.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So we had to watch Barbie first. And Steven, I believe you watched Oppenheimer first and then watched Barbie second. Is that correct?
I did, yeah. I was at the very back for Oppenheimer. Not ideal seating, but when you have the third largest box office weekend of all time, it's to be expected.
So, what was that experience like for you from beginning to end? I mean, I'm talking about as soon as you get, checked in with your ticket. Did you see it as packed? Because you went on Friday, so
Yeah,
technically opening day.
and it was packed. I was a little surprised because the crowds were definitely more Barbie oriented. A lot of pink, a lot of balloons in the lobby and stuff. A lot of people looking like they were there to just have a good time, as opposed to trudge through the you know I am become death destroyer of worlds kind of vibe. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
overall, it was great. It's definitely the heavier of the two. You always expect that from Christopher Nolan, and he really delivered. Beginning to end, almost on two fronts. I feel like it's almost like two movies in one, and both of them are like at war with each other and how good they are and how well acted and how well they're depicted.
I'm really glad you said that. Two movies in one, because I definitely got that vibe. This isn't your typical Christopher Nolan. I need to watch it 5 times for this movie to make sense, especially going back to Tenet,
Right.
Inception as well. I mean, for the exception of the Dark Knight trilogy and even some of his like other classics too, like The Prestige. I don't feel like this is one where you need to rewatch over and over and over again for it to make sense. Like Tenet, I always hear, "Hey, by the fourth time I watch it, it made sense to me." I'm not a fan of movies like that. I mean, I
Right.
do like a little bit of, mystique and things like that. But this one, I did feel like it was definitely two stories in one. But most importantly, you didn't have to feel like you were a rocket scientist to enjoy the film.
Yeah, yeah. I thought there was the black and white elements to the confirmation hearing storyline versus the color of the other to really set them apart. And other than like Rami Malek being there in one and knowing, well, he hasn't said a line, so this has to come back somewhere. There's not a
I
whole
thought that
lot
was weird too.
of not a whole lot of like that you had to keep up with. It's not like Memento where you had to figure out, where
Right.
the whole thing was going the whole
Right.
time.
Right.
Agreed. Kip, what were your thoughts on it?
I mean, it is a classic Nolan movie where things are told non-linear, and like I said with Memento, I had to watch that probably 4 or 5 times just because I love the movie. It's probably
Yeah.
my favorite Nolan movie still. Um, I watched that several times, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't catch that the first couple go arounds. This one, I mean, as long as you don't fall asleep, which I struggled. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled a few
Yeah,
times.
it was a struggle for me too.
I
Those
nodded
movie theater
off.
seats are so comfortable.
Right, I nodded
Yeah.
off a few times. I like had to catch myself, But I mean, for the most part, I knew what was going on. And again, you don't have to be a rocket science, but as somebody that studied like physics and engineering,
Mhm.
I love watching movies like that because I'm like, okay, give us our time to shine. Now everything has to be explosions, which there was a major explosion in it, but that wasn't really the focus of the movie. It was everything that led up to that, and that's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I mean, I'm one of those people to where I'm older now. I do appreciate a good nap. Anytime there's a downtime in a movie, especially as comfortable as the movie theater seats have gotten over the years, there was definitely times where I was catching myself falling asleep, not because the movie was boring per se. It's just it's a slow buildup, and
Right.
and that's what it is. That's what Christopher Nolan is known for. It's not dynamics in the beginning. I mean, for the exception of the Dark Knight series, you got to wait a little bit until you kind of see what's really going on.
Hmm.
Christopher Nolan solidified himself after, yeah, I think a little bit before, but definitely after doing the Batman trilogy, and
Right.
then of course Inception.
Right.
And we'll get to Greta in a little bit because I feel like she's gonna be in that aspect of it, especially in terms of female directors.
Hmm.
So it's exciting to see new properties that are directed well, that are meant for theaters.
Right.
So, before we get to Barbie, let's go over again. You got to do this out of a scale of 5, and this time I'll start with you, Kip, and then
Okay.
I'll go to Steven. Where would you rank? And give me 2 rankings. I want to know like rewatchability ranking,
Hmm.
and then just your overall ranking of the film.
Okay. Rewatchability. I'm gonna tell you, I don't think I could watch it in the theater again. Now, I'm glad that I did watch it in theater because the
Mhm.
sound was amazing.
Spectacular.
It was
Mhm.
I can't imagine watching that for the first time at home. So
Mhm.
definitely, if you have a chance to get out there to the theater, you're going to want to see it in the theater. Also, just to support theaters right now. And again, everybody that worked on that movie, I know they worked their asses off to make that. Uh, Based on just what I saw in the cinema, I would give it I don't know, is it like we do whole numbers or do you?
You could do like at least do a half. Like
Okay,
don't
okay.
do like point
All right,
one
so
five.
I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Actually, for both, I mean, I'd say 4.5 out of 5 for just seeing it one time, and then rewatchability. I would definitely watch it again, but at home in the comfort of my own home, and probably in sections. Like I almost wanted like a Tarantino intermission.
Yeah.
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 Because I made it all the way through without even going to the bathroom, and that was rough. So
Same. Same. Steven, what's your thought?
Uh, I would say I'm gonna give it, rewatchability. I'll definitely watch it. I always come around to every Nolan movie, no matter
Right.
how, even if I'm not like, oh, I've got to, figure it out again or anything. Like I watched Interstellar a couple weeks ago just because I don't know that I'd watched it since it came out. Definitely, a 5 out of 5 for rewatching, and I would say a 4 out of 5 as far as the movie itself. I think that I harp on this all the time, and my wife especially does when I look at the runtime of something, even like the new Mission Impossible is 3 hours, and it's like, okay, well, people seem to think that this movie has to be 3 hours, so you feel like you got your money's worth out of it. But I think you could have cut out easily a half an hour, if not an hour, from Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
I agree.
you would have just had a all killer, no filler experience. So 4 out of 5 just for that reason.
Yeah, I agree with you when Kip, myself, and a big shout out to our buddy Derek who saw the movie with us. I felt as if I think I would have enjoyed this more, even though it was a great cinematic experience. So let me go ahead and start with that. Cinematic experience wise, I will definitely give this a 4 out of 5. Like, go watch this in theaters for the sound, the visuals, a Christopher Nolan experience, what you come to expect from a Christopher Nolan film. With that being said, this did feel all of 3 hours to me. There's 3 hour movies that don't feel like 3 hour movies.
Right.
Wolf of Wall Street to me is one where I could kind of just watch on whatever. But I've always been a Scorsese fan. I've always been a Christopher Nolan fan. But this did feel all of 3 hours. So you are correct, Stephen. I think they could have knocked out half an hour to an hour of this
Right.
film.
Mhm.
And if they were to keep it the way it is, I would have preferred if it was an HBO special directed by Christopher Nolan on a Chernobyl
Like Chernobyl, yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
You know, that way it could have been a 6-part miniseries, let's just say,
Mhm.
where it could have kept people maybe engaged a little bit longer, because that is one of the main concern. I mean, let's face it, we're in a world right now where we want everything fast, we want everything quick. And I mean, I feel like the three of us are cinephiles where we really enjoy the experience, but not everybody is like us. And I'm not saying Christopher Nolan makes movies for everybody, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of people where they look at the time, and as soon as it's over 2 hours or 2.5 hours, immediately they just check out. They don't even
yeah,
want to give it a chance. So, I mean, that obviously didn't happen this weekend because it has been the best weekend since COVID, the
Right.
best box office weekend between this movie and Barbie since Endgame. So, I mean, yes, I will say go out and watch it, especially if you love Christopher Nolan movies, and most importantly, original content. You know, this isn't
yeah,
a remake. This isn't part 10 or part 12 or a part of an extended cinematic universe, which we have all grown to love,
Right.
and we can get to that in a
yeah,
little bit. You know, and that's what I love about Christopher Nolan. We know it's going to be, even when it was Batman, it didn't feel like the old Batman films, which I enjoyed. You know, I'm not going to take anything away from Tim Burton or anything like that, but he just has an eye for making things look real and look amazing, where it's not just super, super CGI focused. And
yeah.
I really respect him for that.
And you know that when you see them building Los Alamos in the movie,
Yeah.
that they're actually out
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
building a
Yeah.
town for the sake of this movie and
Yeah.
for his vision and stuff. So to see that old school filmmaking is very cool.
Right.
Exactly. I think he just has such a respect for the craft, and for fans of cinema, we're going to enjoy it. You know, again, I mean,
Mhm.
not everything's for everyone. We get it. 100%. But if you enjoy cinematic adventures and you want to go to the movies to enjoy that, and that, I think that's a big thing about this weekend. These movies were made to be enjoyed in theaters, and it was so great to go back to that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of assigned seating. I don't have to panic if I'm not at a movie theater half an hour
Right.
early trying to get a good seat. But I also try to make sure that I, make the trailers on time and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was really good to just see the different demographics for both films across the board. So let's go ahead and get to Barbie on that. So Barbie, as far as stats go, so let me go ahead and run down some numbers for this weekend to show how absolutely massive this weekend was. So Barbie earned $337 million worldwide, and Oppenheimer brought in 174 million worldwide for a total combined gross of $511 million.
That's
Again,
one weekend.
one weekend.
Wow.
And this is not a holiday weekend, too. You know, holiday
Right.
weekends
Right.
numbers fluctuate
Hmm.
a little bit because they come out on Wednesday. And I believe these two came out on Thursday, like the normal schedule goes.
Yeah.
So, biggest opening weekend since the pandemic, the fourth biggest opening weekend in box office history for two movies. And the ones before that were Endgame, Infinity War, and The Force Awakens. And I mean, we're talking those three movies carried that whole entire
Oh, yeah.
weekend, where these
Yeah.
two
I can't even tell
complete
you what
opposite
else
ends.
what else came out when those
Right.
movies came out.
Yeah,
You know?
complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
And the marketing, I mean, to me, it's genius in a way, to where it's like, let's just get people out to the theaters and we'll let it go up to them. And it just happened. So
Mhm.
before we get to Barbie, I mean, what was kind of your first take, Stephen? We'll start with you, like, especially with the Barbie movie coming out. Like, what were your thoughts? And then, Kip, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
I've had a crush on Greta Gerwig since like Greenberg or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
another Greta Gerwig Noah Baumbach collaboration, and
Yeah.
then Frances Ha and all that. So, you know, I've always been aware of her as long as she's been working, even going back to the movies with the Duplass brothers in the early aughts and stuff. Uh, saw Lady Bird, didn't love it. Saw Little Women, didn't love it. But her working and co-writing with Noah Baumbach was big for me. going back to movies like Squid and the Whale and things like that, and
Mm.
getting that wry sense of humor to go with what she's brought in as a director, I think is what really put this one over the top for me.
Pick what was your first reactions to that?
Barbie pretty much had me at the first trailer. Like it gave me like 21 Jump Street vibes, where I'm like, okay, so I'm not really supposed to take this seriously. They're not taking themselves seriously. It's
Right.
a comedy, And as I saw the next trailer, I was like, okay, this is more geared towards adults. But there's stuff. It's like the opposite, where you go see a kids movie, like the Lego movie, and then it has something for the adults. This seemed like it was for adults, but had something for the kids.
Yeah.
So I mean, uh, I was definitely more excited to see that than Oppenheimer, which, which is bad, I guess. I don't know, but I mean, Oppenheimer. I never felt more like an adult watching a movie before, and
we were just missing the suits.
that's how I felt. I felt like we just stepped off of like the suits,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
set to go watch this movie. But like I had a great time with it. Like I felt I didn't go in with high expectations.
Right.
I just wanted a good time. I wanted a few laughs, and it gave me everything I asked for.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything else that she's done. I never saw Lady Bird, so like I'm not really. Those aren't movies that I tend to flock to. So I mean, looking at her resume, it's kind of shocking that she went with Barbie, but I mean that's cool. I mean, it shows that she's versatile, so that's always a good thing. And I think that this will lead to bigger projects for her, because she did a phenomenal job, directing. It's kind of like, I mean, as far as like female directors, there's a small handful of female. I mean, there's tons of them, but like the ones that we actually know,
Right.
very few. Like you have somebody like Catherine Bigelow, great director, and she directed a action movie, and it's great. Patty Jenkins, the first Wonder Woman and Monster. I mean, she's going to be up there on that tier. I think going forward, and that's good for her.
And I mean, after this weekend, the highest grossing weekend for any female director of all time. Wow. And I mean, I'm a gentleman who.
That's great.
Oh my goodness, why am I drawing a blank on her name? Directed Penny Marshall. Was one of my favorite directors growing up. I mean, League of Their Own, Big. Those are two of my favorite movies right there. So, I mean, it's great to see the comeuppance, I guess you could say, for someone like this, because I feel like if not after Barbie, she is going to be in a Christopher Nolan type of Steven Spielberg, all these directors that can just say, hey, here's my project, throw me some money, I'm going to make it fire. So, same thing with Kip. I don't think I was hooked on the first episode though, or the first trailer. I was definitely like, I'm intrigued. It seems like it's going to be a fun movie, and let's face it, we're in the middle of a recession. The world's at war with itself. We need more fun shit at the movie theaters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Plain and simple. And the one thing I will say, and Kip and I talked about this briefly, it's just crazy the propaganda bashing that's going on with it. It seems like you can't come out with anything without it being propaganda, no matter what the movie is.
There's always some agenda attached to it.
Right.
It's like, no, it's just a movie, guys.
And I tell you what, there was this TikToker who took all these 1-star ratings and actually put it on or 1-star reviews and put it on the Barbie movie poster to make it like a legit like review, and it made me want to watch the movie even more. So it's great to like take these trolls that just want to just complain about every single thing on the planet, which can we just pump the brakes a little bit? Like, not everything is propaganda. Can there not be a good movie out there without there being a background message behind it?
Right.
And even if there is, so what? It's not paying your bills. It's not helping you get rich.
Right.
It's just there for entertainment purposes. I'm not brainwashed. I'm not going out to buy Barbies tomorrow, because then I saw people were burning Barbies. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, like even if you hated the movie for whatever reason, it didn't ruin your day. It didn't ruin your day. Like, come on.
If pop culture is ruining your life that much, then please find an alternative. But I went in completely surprised. I brought my sister with me. My wife, Ashley, I love you. I know you're going to be listening to this episode. I got to call you out, though. She was a little bit too hungover to join us for the movie. So it was myself, my sister, Kip, Autumn, and then our good friends, Derek and Kate. And we all walked out of there smiling. I mean, it's 2 hours of just goofy, dumb fun. And I thought it was done very well. I
Yeah.
think everything with
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan, I always
Oh
want to say
yeah.
Philippi. Yeah, I thought that, especially when the crossover happened. So I don't want to give too many spoilers. So, we don't want to give too many spoilers
Okay.
on this because the movie just came out. But when the crossover happened, I did enjoy how his fanny pack went from pink to it said Ken, but in the Metallica symbol.
Yeah, metal
That's one of the
font.
first things I
I
noticed, the
didn't even
Metallica
notice
font.
that.
So I mean, it's just so crazy how people are like, oh, it's just making men look dumb. And I'm just like, you're looking dumb by talking crap about this
Well,
movie
I mean-
that's obviously meant to just have a good time.
I mean, also, I mean, we have to look at the history of cinema and like, especially like sitcoms.
Sure.
Like the Honeymooners did that. I
Yeah,
mean, that's I mean,
right.
you can go back to Ralph Cramden.
Pow!
Yeah, I mean,
Right in the kisser.
and that's problematic.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for the most part, like he was a big oaf, and his wife was the one that really ran the household.
Right.
Like
Agreed.
and that was the Flintstones was based off of that. So Fred and
Yeah.
Wilma, it's the same thing. Like he's gonna
Mhm.
look at King of Queens.
Right.
Like I mean, you have like the oafish husband, and then you have the smarter, like way too good for him wife.
Right.
That's just
The anchor.
Yeah,
The
the
anchor.
anchor. That's I mean, call it a cliche or a what's the I don't know what the term that they use for that when it's just a trope. It's a trope. It's a
Yeah.
trope. So like you have to like come on, just let it go. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. If you're pissed off about it, make your own movie.
Yeah.
But you also get a happy ending for everyone. Like I
Right.
mean, we said we walked out of there feeling good. It's not like anyone was marginalized.
Right.
In the end, the Barbies
Right.
are like, oh man, we haven't been treating the Kens right. Like there's a reason that they feel the way they feel, and they don't need to be the way they're being about it. But we
Yeah.
need to change something about the way we've been acting too.
Right. And that's the
Yes.
message for both sides.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just sick and tired of when anytime that, it seems like women get a one up, that people just go absolutely ballistic.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, come
Mhm.
on. Like, and just like you said, Steven, I mean, it is a good ending because, again, I'm not trying to give spoilers, but, there's the stereotypical ending that Will Ferrell mentioned,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it did not happen. So we'll just say that. And it happens at the very end of the movie. So again, no spoiler. And I just thought it was just well done. Like, and I actually take it back. It's not dumb fun. It's just a fun movie.
Yeah.
And nothing that I expected. And I will say this. This is not something like, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds are going to get.
Nah.
Like, I'm not saying it's a hard PG-13 by any means, but they definitely made this for your teenagers and up. It's
Right.
not like, oh, my daughter's 5 years old and she plays with dolls and she's going to get this.
Oh, there's people
No,
outraged.
there's a lot of adults, but I mean, it just ended up working out great.
Mhm.
So what is your rating of Barbie, Kip? And then we'll go over to Steve.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. The comedy, that's what did it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Gosling,
He's so good.
he's great. I mean, the fact this guy, like, if he won an Oscar for comedy, like, I would completely get it because the guy. I'm not saying he carried the movie, but comedically, I would say he carried the movie. Like, I mean, just the Kens in general, Simu Liu, like him, and the guy that plays Gravik in Secret Invasion. I don't know his name yet.
Yeah.
We will know his name.
Oh, we will.
after Bob Marley. We will
Yeah.
know his name, but yeah, I mean, they did a great job. I mean, even Michael Cera, his part.
Oh,
He
as
was
what was it? Adam.
Alan, yeah, he was
Yeah,
Alan.
Alan, yeah.
Yeah, he was great. Will Ferrell was great, but he's usually, he's Will Ferrell. He's going to give you, what he's known for. Issa Rae, like she was funny. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought
Mhm.
everybody had, they did their part, and I loved it. So yeah, I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
comedy wise, here's how you know. I mean, this movie will stand the test of time.
Oh
And I
yeah.
guarantee you, and I've already seen it happening. We are all going to be calling our homes Mojo Dojo Casa Houses, plain and simple.
Mojo Dojo Casa House.
And then I love how they're like, you know, you don't have
You
to
don't have to
say
say
that
it.
at the end,
Yeah, you don't have to say,
but it's so great.
You
So
don't have to
even
say
as
dojo
I,
or
you know, I
casa.
if we would have seen it for my barbecue this past weekend, I would have been like, this is the Mojo Dojo Casa House barbecue.
Yeah,
What's your rating on Barbie, bud?
I give it a 5 out of 5.
Love
I
it.
don't think.
Okay.
Love it.
I don't
Hold
think.
hold on. Before you say anything
Yeah.
more. Hold on. We're gonna get it in there. Here it is.
Yeah. I don't think there was anything in the whole movie that was wasted. I think that there were, there's musical numbers, there's fight scenes, there's cameos. I just don't feel like there was any scene that was wasted. I think that there are things that I want for movies that I'll still go see everything, like No Hard Feelings. It was fine, but I still want there to be room for quotable comedies and R-rated comedies in the
Right.
marketplace. So I went to see it.
Yeah.
And after, when I went out with my friends to eat after the movie, we were all quoting lines from Barbie already. Like,
Right.
anytime anything that has gone well the last couple days, it's been sublime. Like, I think it's going to be, as a comedy, stand the test of time, like you said, the same way Anchorman or Dodgeball or any other great comedy does.
Yep.
And then it had a ton to say in the same way that a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once or Vengeance did last year, where it hits you emotionally too.
I'm like, in the early 2000s, before we had memes and gifs, it was quotes from movies, and Anchorman was one of them.
Yeah.
So I will give this definitely a 4.5 out of 5. I actually cannot wait to watch this movie again. I did tell Ashley, she was like, well, will you go to the theaters again? Maybe. I mean, we got a lot of other stuff coming out. Don't get me wrong, but it's one of those, like, if it's on TV, I'm probably going to watch it, and I'm going to put it on.
Yeah.
Rewatchability.
I'm actually going to change my. I gave it a 4. I'm going to go to a 4.5 because you know what?
There we go.
Okay.
You know what? Like, I can see myself watching this before I watch Oppenheimer.
There you go.
And I'm like, again, if it's on streaming, I'm like, it's on up. Okay,
right.
That's what I'm watching.
Like, I'd like to call those my TNT and TBS movies.
Right.
If it's on TV, you're going to watch it.
No matter what point it's on.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a third of the way through, you're like, I guess I'm riding this out.
Yeah.
So
agree.
And I think we've only seen the first, the biggest opening weekend for a female director ever, part of the fourth largest weekend ever, you said. But I think whatever streamer gets Barbie is going to see a bump once it goes on there too. And it'll be like Barbie sleepovers and stuff, the same way you saw people going out for it. So I think it's only halfway through its cultural phenomena too.
Right. I mean, there's people that have done it, that did both movies in the same day, and God bless all of you that did it.
I don't know how.
I could not. I don't care how good they both are. 5 hours is a lot. Steven, I want to let the fans know a little bit more about Sailfish Comics. I've been hearing about you, really since the last couple of years now. Tell them just a little bit about how Sailfish got started, where you guys are going, and like, what are what's the new hot shit coming out here in the next few weeks?
The Sailfish started 17 years ago. My business partner, Brett Parks, he had been teaching English in Korea, saving up money, selling, whatever region locked DVDs of Eraserhead and selling Transformers you couldn't get anywhere else, shipping them to the US to make his nest egg to open the store. Came back, opened the store, and I was the first guy there helping him pull subscriptions as soon as he opened. Like, I remember going to pick up books from him when he was still painting the walls. And then fast forward 10 years, and I wanted a piece of something for my own.
Yeah.
Got together with Brett, opened up our own shop in Greensboro, and then 3 years after that, we had hired a kid named Colton. He wanted to make his bones as well. We set him up down in Concord. So that's kind of how the Manifest Destiny has progressed. As far as the new hotness, we have Ultimate Invasion going on. That's the big Marvel summer event. DC's turned things a little more horror oriented with night terrors across their whole line of books. And there's always new stuff to try. We just had an exclusive variant featuring our puppy Lois for a new book called Scrapper that's like Blade Runner meets Homeward Bound, kind of stray dogs in the dystopian future solving crimes. So that's a lot of fun. And especially if you like the movies that you saw this weekend, there's especially Oppenheimer, Jonathan Hickman, who's written a bunch for the Avengers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He teamed up with a guy named Nick Pitara back in 2009, and they did a book called Manhattan Projects.
Oh, okay.
Where it posits as the atomic bomb being the tamest thing that they created. And really, they were just like completely unhinged and no government oversight, creating dimensional portals and dealing with aliens and stuff like that too. And that deals with Oppenheimer and Leslie Groves, a lot more Richard Feynman than we got in the movie and things like that. So that's kind of a old backlist title that's evergreen right now.
Awesome. And I know you guys normally, I think about once a month, do an event at your like side location in Greensboro. Do you have any upcoming events with the warehouse coming up?
Yeah, our warehouse is located at 929 behind the Field Trip Performance Space, or 929 North Church Street.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just talking about it today. I think we're looking at August 18th and 19th. So the afternoon of Friday, August 18th, and then the morning into the afternoon of Saturday, August 19th for the next warehouse sale. And that's a chance where we have a lot of dollar books, kind of overstock clearance toys. We also have some premium back issues that even having 3 stores, we just don't have room for everything that we want to get out there. So that's some extra space to come and find some hidden gems.
Love it. For those of you watching, I mean, I would say half of this is thanks to our friends at Sailfish Comics here in the background. So Steven will be joining us at least once a month minimum to talk about all things comic books, Comic Cons, action figures, the whole entire 9 yards. Kip, thank you so much for joining us.
Man,